Hi guys, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Mihala Barasa.
And I'm Danun Nzyuko.
And today, first of all, we're happy to see you. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
Today we are doing a Q&A. But before we begin the Q&A, then what are they supposed to do?
Subscribe.
Hapa tu chini tu, hapa tu. There's 124 of you now. Like just ongeza number. Hata sasa so mbili ni kitu ya kutunyima.
Imagine.
Sasa tu so mbili.
So mbili tu.
200.
Skuma.
Ruabe.
Imagine. Bei ya
mkate. New price ya bread. Anyway, so today we are going to do an FAQ, frequently asked questions, or rather an audience question. There's some questions that you guys asked us on Instagram. We put up the question box, and there are some that came directly into our DMs. So we're going to answer some of that questions, and we love that you guys engage us.
Yeah.
I think going forward, we should be picking one question per episode and kind of answering.
Yes.
Mtuongezee maswali. Sasa msipoongeza tutarudi kujibu tu hizi tu bado. Tutarudi nazo hapo.
Yeah.
But maybe we can go to our first question. Maybe I can read it and then you can take it.
Okay.
So this lady asked, hey, could you please highlight kidogo on incidents at workplaces, like injuries, etc.? Thanks in advance. Okay. So please note she works at a gym.
Whoa.
So imagine like if there were injuries.
Incidents at work. Okay. So the first thing about incidents at work, I think we touched on it when we were talking about the Employment Act, is about the Occupational Safety and Health Act. So that's the act that basically looks at your safety at work. Yeah. So there are certain, depending on the workspace, there are certain regulations or guidelines that every workspace should follow. Yeah. So in terms of spacing, so in an office setup, how far apart should your desks be? How far apart should you be from your desk mate and all that? In terms of circulation of air, how many windows are there? You know, are they being opened? You know, there could be windows, but you can't open them.
You can't open them.
Yeah.
For vibes.
Yeah, for vibes, yes. The number of washrooms that are there. So depending on the number of staff, the occupational health and safety guidelines normally have a ratio of the number of staff and the number of washrooms that should be available to that number of staff. Yeah, so now in the example now for like a gym, there are certain requirements, I think, when the Department of Occupational Health and Safety, DOSH, would be visiting, that they would require the gym to have. So in the event of an incident at work, so first of all, before we get to the incident part, some housekeeping, it's normally important to make sure that you ensure that there are no tripping hazards. Yeah. So anything along the way, make sure it's removed. So try your best to prevent the incidents from happening. First things first.
In this instance, kile anakuambia watu wa gym, please re-rack your weights. Don't let your weights be in the way of the next person to avoid that injury. That's just basically what she's saying.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a safety and occupational concern.
Yes. Yeah. So make sure that also if, for example, you pour water, make sure it's wiped immediately. You know, personal responsibility. I normally see some people like in offices, they leave their utensils up, like in the breakout area, someone just leaves their cup on the table
and goes
instead of putting it in the sink. You know, you pour water, you don't take the mop and wipe. You know, that's someone can slip and fall. So those are just some things, basic things you as an adult
should learn how to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Just make sure that whatever is on the way, you remove it. If there's a spillage, you clean it. Yeah. Or call someone to clean it. You know, just make sure that your work environment is safe. Yeah, for yourself and for others. Yeah. So in the event of an incident at work, the company is supposed to have a work injury benefit cover. Yes. So that's an insurance cover that the company is supposed to have. So in the event that you trip and fall while at work and you hurt your leg, then there should be a cover to help you with the medical expenses and also like compensation for the injury and for probably the time especially for casual laborers, for the time that you'll be away from work. Yes, because most casual laborers are paid per day. Yes. So for the time that you'll be away from work, that cover would now help you.
Kick in,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So basically, that's how you handle incidents at work. So first, prevent, then also make sure that insure your staff.
I think as we talk about that issue of insurance, I think I remember when I was starting out in law, I used to do a lot of flower farm cases where people were injured at work. One of the things that also used to come out clearly in those conversations was there's need for training on safety equipment. There's need for proper gear. Like in the gym, I don't expect that you'll be coming there with a dera. I expect that you'll be coming in proper gym attire to minimize the injury. I expect that your employer teaches you or trains you on how to use the equipment. Probably you've gone to school to learn how to use this equipment, but all equipment are not the same. They have to teach you how to do it.
Yes.
And then another safety precaution or requirement that I see around gyms, and I think I might have picked this from either the DOSH official or the fire safety official that came to our gym last time, is you are actually mandated as a gym owner to maintain a central water point. So you don't need to have a water point in the middle of where the weights are. They're just supposed to be one central water point in the far back corner where people don't, like she's saying, those villages. And then also another preventative measure that DOSH usually looks at when they come to gyms is, are your machines functioning well? Are they working properly? And this is also a responsibility to your employer. Other than that, of course, there's the maintenance of the WIBA cover that your employer is supposed to get for you. If they don't, then they're supposed to mandate you to get that WIBA cover for yourself, so that in case of an injury, you can be able to be properly compensated.
Yeah. And I think I like the point for training. Training is actually very important with a lot of incidents at work and a lot of regulations and issues that are there. It's important to ensure that your staff are trained. Yes. On the various regulatory issues, the various workplace etiquette issues and culture, make sure that you've trained your staff.
They know what to expect.
Exactly.
Okay. Question number 2. I think I'll just hog the reading of the question.
Yeah.
So this is a bit random because these are questions you asked over different periods of time. The second one said, do we have a provision for pregnancies that did not come to term, either intentionally or unintentionally? This lady asked 3 questions. That was the first one. The second question was, what about cryptic pregnancies? May not be a big occurrence in Kenya, but would appreciate your thoughts. And number 3, also highlight adoption or undergoing fertility treatment or surrogacy. So where do we start? Pregnancies that do not come to term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure what she meant by that. Okay, but
provisions on leave.
This is in relation to employment.
Yes, employment.
Okay. I've also been quite curious on that. What I would say is a lot of companies handle it differently.
Yeah. There's
nothing explicit in the Employment Act and in the labor laws about pregnancies that don't come to term. So some companies, depending on the human resource manager or specialist that's there, they will advise the management on how best to handle a situation. So for example, if it was a stillbirth, some of the companies give the full maternity period, the full 3 months. So that, because you see, this is a baby that was born actually, but it was a stillbirth, So this person needs time to go and recover physically and also mentally. So some companies give the full 3 months so that a person can go and especially go for therapy or counseling to help them cope with that situation. For pregnancies that probably terminate involuntarily during the earlier stages, a lot of companies give you sick-off. So depending on the sick-off period that your company has, some companies have 30 days, others 15 days. So depending on that, they give you that time to go home and recuperate. And then also with the growth in awareness on mental health, a lot of them will require you to go for some counseling before you come back to the office. Yeah. So I think it depends from company to company, and also at what stage
the pregnancy terminates.
Yes.
I think she's answered that beautifully. I don't think I could put it any better. What I'll probably just add is some, like she said, employer to employer is different. So you can have it can be an unfortunate event that you have a stillbirth, and your employer probably doesn't kind of want to give you maternity leave. What I've seen from the consultancies I've supported, or what I've suggested, is you get the first full 14 days of leave, and then most of those policies will have something called duty of care. So the duty of care provision is, I am unwell for this number. Well, if I'm unwell for this number of months, I'll keep getting paid. It's really not sick leave.
Yes.
But after you've exhausted your sick leave, then there's like an extra period where we say, go recuperate, we'll still pay you full pay. After this period, if you're still unwell, then maybe we can explore alternative means, maybe a mutual separation agreement or a different working formula. So most of the time we'll do 14 days of leave and probably 14 days of sick leave. If it's a stillbirth, we'll do your bereavement and compassionate leave. Then we give you duty of care. Then after you've finished your duty of care, then we assess the situation from that point. Pregnancies that terminate before, like she said, we do 14 days of sick leave. If there's need for you to stay home longer, again, we do the duty of care part.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So number 2, adoption. Adoption or those undergoing fertility treatment or surrogacy. Okay, so fertility treatment and surrogacy, that one I've not delved into properly, and I think that's a whole episode on its own.
On its own, yes.
But for adoption, there's a provision in the Employment Act, actually very explicit. I think it's Section 29A of the Employment Act, that gives you, as a parent that's going to adopt, I think it's called pre-adoptive leave of 30 days, of 1 month, to kind of bond with your child. So 14 days before you receive the kid, you give your company a notice and say, by the way, I'm going to receive a kid in the next 14 days. I'm preparing to exit and go and have my adoptive leave for 1 month. And then they give you that leave, you go, and then you come back. Yeah.
Why not the full 3 months?
I've always wondered that as well.
Yes. Even me. Okay. Because for example, it's because if I've adopted a small baby, you need time to bond.
To bond, exactly.
To get the child acclimatized to your home environment, to the people taking care of her. Anyway, those are just my thoughts.
But I've also, the other thing about adoption in Kenya, it's not a very straightforward process. Like, it takes a bit of time.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I don't know how many people, if you know, probably you can tell us how many people have adopted a child that is like 3 to 6 months.
Not many.
Yes. So most of those adoptions will start at 2-3 years going forward. So that's why probably
It takes time.
they give you this 1 month period. But I don't know. It would have been nice to have a 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think maybe just to touch on the issue of surrogacy and fertility treatments. So this is, okay. So depending on the type of cover that your employer has gotten for you, the medical cover, there are some medical covers that will cater for fertility treatments. Yes. So that now you would need to have to talk to your HR to confirm whether your medical cover covers the fertility treatments. I've not seen any medical cover in Kenya covering surrogacy as yet.
Okay.
Yes. But we can do a bit more research on it. If you've seen one, please DM us so that we can also know. But for now, I haven't seen one that covers.
I think we can explore, like, looking at outside Kenya and see how they handle it. Maybe best practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because laws around surrogacy in Kenya have not yet been fully... Actually, we really don't have laws and regulations around surrogacy in Kenya.
But there are guidelines.
Some guidelines, yes. Yeah. So I think we can tell you guys about best practice.
Best practice,
Yes. That's out there. Yeah.
So there's another question. This one said, someone has just asked me a question on paternity leave. And they went on to say they saw an article on LinkedIn. Then they say, does the applicant for the paternity leave need to be in a legal union to be eligible for it, that's paternity leave, or just show proof of fatherhood?
Show proof of fatherhood.
Show proof of fatherhood. That's actually about it. You just need to show that you're a father. You don't need to be in an eligible union. That is one. The second thing that I think we touched on this in the previous episode, the main challenge that people get with paternity leave, like I said, is for a lady, it's easy because people will see the pregnancy. They'll know, okay, Carla was pregnant. and it will be easy for you to apply for maternity leave. But for guys, because you don't see the pregnancy, you have to actually formally apply for the leave in writing and give either notification of birth or birth certificate. Some employers will refuse a notification of birth, just so you know. So which might defeat the purpose of getting the leave
Maternity leave, I
because
know.
the
If
birth
I'm not going
certificate-
immediately.
exactly. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
But case law kind of allows you to give the notification and say maybe in the next 2 months I'm going to give you I'm going to give you
the birth certificate.
the birth certificate.
Yes, because that can be, well, if I don't give you the birth certificate, you can take it as a integrity issue or deal with it.
And you can always recover your days from my annual leave days.
Sindio.
Because paternity leave is not 3 months.
Yeah, it's
2 weeks.
2 weeks
Yeah,
basically, and it's actually 14 calendar days.
Yeah, 14 calendar days.
So it's technically 10 working days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You answered the next question we were going to ask. Let me see. Pregnancy, letting go. So the other question that Nanu was asked is the nuances around letting go of a pregnant staff member.
Yes. Oh, okay. So the first question was, can you let go of a pregnant staff member? Which is yes. You
Yes.
can. You can.
Technically.
Technically, you can, yes. But I think the challenge that the person who was asking the question had, because we had a bit of a conversation, was will it be seen that like you're discriminating against this person? You're letting them go right now because they're
They are
expectant.
expectant.
Yes. So the key issue there is you have to prove that it's performance-based. Yes. That there's no bias.
There's no bias.
Yes. When we were shooting the Employment Act episode, we touched on the disciplinary process and the best practice for a disciplinary process. So if you've taken the person through a fair and transparent disciplinary process, then you shouldn't have a challenge. The problem is where you have let them go and it's not clear
Whether there was a process or not.
and why you let them go. It's not,
If there's a gray area, then probably
Yes.
they'll cry discrimination.
Exactly, yeah. And they'll actually have a good case.
They'll have a good case. I'd love that case.
Anyone
Anyone
who's gone through something like that, call me Hala.
for me? Yeah, but I agree with her. The challenge with letting go of pregnant staff members is there's always the imputation of bias. There's always I'm being victimized because I'm pregnant. But if this is a person that maybe has stolen from the company, maybe is underperforming and probably has even been on a PIP for the past I don't know how long, and they're just getting pregnant. If there's reason to actually terminate them and you go through the entire process, it should not be a problem. Yeah. But if you feel like an employer is targeting you specifically for being pregnant, then that's constructive dismissal and discrimination. So you can actually claim that.
I feel like we got a lot of questions around Employment Act
Yes.
and labor laws.
And labor laws.
I think there's a lot on that area that people need to understand, especially on the employment. So probably we need to do a part 2 of the Employment Act.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot that people have been asking. I think another question I got was when we did the Employment Act series on Instagram, where people were asking questions. One of the questions was, how do I know that the policy I'm signing is in line with the law?
Oh, yes, I remember that question.
Yes. And so one of the things is, it's upon the company to update their policies when there are changes in law. Yes, it's their job to actually make sure that they update their policies and ensure that their policies are in line with the law. And one of the things that we mentioned in the Employment Act episode is the policies that you write need to be in line with the law, meaning that in the event there's a dispute between your policy and the law
takes precedence.
Yes.
If the law offers better terms on anything employment,
Yes.
for sure the law will take precedence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if the law provides for 21 leave days per year, don't go giving people 10 leave days.
Just give them the entire 21 days.
Exactly. even if you say that they signed the contract for the 10 leave days, it doesn't matter.
It's not enforceable.
Yeah.
It's not enforceable because you're not allowed to oppress your employers.
Exactly.
Employees. Actually, this reminds me about that maternity leave question. You can spin it and say, can you send me like maybe a notice of disciplinary hearing or anything like that during my maternity leave?
Oh, okay. Actually, don't know about that.
I think that is the. I think you can. If you've here in Kenya, you can. If you've substantiated there's an issue, you can. But best practice is to just wait.
Yes.
When they come back from maternity leave, 1 day later,
rusha barua.
kama ile, unakumbuka ile?
Yeah.
Just rusha too. But you know, there are some jurisdictions like Rwanda, you cannot send.
Anyway, Chatu.
You're still thinking about that story? That was terrible.
That was terrible. Because I am a compliance person, I'm supposed to be on the side of the business.
But now they did her that.
Yeah, they did her that. Sometimes I'm not very like, I can tell you how to get out of this situation.
But let me not.
Hey, like that one she would have.
Yeah, should have gotten some good money.
She would have gotten some good money out of it. But anyway.
She just didn't like us. If she did.
If she liked us, would have told her.
She'd be doing freestyling, man.
Yeah. Yes. And that's actually, I think, one of the things that I've seen in employment in Kenya is people are normally scared of talking to each other and helping each other in the office, which I feel like is a culture of fear in a lot of corporates that they have enforced, that people are so scared of talking to each other.
Because you're scared you'll get fired.
Yes. Because someone feels like if I give so-and-so advice about how to get out of the sticky situation they're in, they can go and say, oh, Mihala told me
to
1,
do
2,
this
3.
exactly.
And then now I'm victimized for it. Yeah. And that's how a lot of people end up losing their jobs on things that could have been discussed, or even having conflict with their superiors on things that can easily be discussed.
Can easily be solved.
Yes.
But it's because you did not know what the remedy to that sticky situation was. And because you didn't ask.
Yeah.
But you know, I think our situation taught me something very important.
Yeah.
It taught me like, by the way, those people that have gotten to a place where I'm not scared to lose my job. I'm like,
my employer, please, I am scared.
I absolutely love my job. I absolutely love my boss. But I'm not really terrified to lose my job over standing up for something.
Yes.
So I decided, I made a mental note to make it extremely inconvenient for someone to either disrespect me or not give me my rights at work. Like, extremely inconvenient, the one that I will ask, please clarify what you mean by I will not have 21 leave days. And I copy the HR boss.
Yes.
So that when you look at it, you're like, is she planning to sue us? It's what's
like
the nuance here? Yes. So when you get to that place of, I am not scared to be terminated because I was trying to advocate for something that the law actually allows me to. Nowadays, I'm just feeling like and I'm a model employee, by the way. I don't cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But if you bring trouble to my doorstep,
yes,
and at your rate,
tutapelekana na hiyo nini.
Same speed. Just same speed.
Our principals in high school used to tell us, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if you do mad things, we will...
you return those mad things. You show me status I don't know, I show you questions you don't know answers to. Now both of us are confused.
Tunafanyana madness.
Yeah, but I think that is the other thing that I think, and we need to do an episode on what we learned from corporate life. Because I feel like that casting taught us so many lessons.
Yes, there's a casting.
There's a casting there that we learned a lot.
We learned a lot.
And probably need to bring to share our experience as well.
Yeah, but I think that's what a lot of people are actually going through a lot in employment. People don't know. And sometimes even contracts. I think that's one of the things we emphasized, reading your contract before you sign that contract. Because some HRs are sneaky. They sneak in up or...
Some.
They sneak in up for 2 months notice period.
I know.
Then you just sign thinking it's the kawaida 1 month notice period. Then when you want to go and quit, they're
like
telling you,
60 days.
my friends, nipatie hapa notice ya 60
I
days.
need 60
30 days za nani.
Na usha sign huko kwingine.
You know.
Usha sign
So please read
your contract.
read your contract.
Send them to read for you. I'll charge you a small fee though.
Wow.
Next question.
Ufanye employment contracts pro bono.
Unajua wanaenda kulipwa kwa hizo contracts ama hiyo contract haitakuwa na salary ndani?
Ama unataka kuniambia 5 years of law school?
I know. Hata sio hivyo, like I'm wondering, will there be a monetary value on that contract?
On that contract,
Kama
yes.
itakuwa like
Una nini?
only fair that Caesar is given what belongs to Caesar.
Okay.
Uncle Zach.
Uncle Zach. Agreed.
So someone asked, can someone legally hold 2 jobs? And if so, on what terms? 1, on a consultancy note, can someone legally have a fixed term employment contract and a consultancy gig in a non-competitive industry at the same time?
Okay. Well, 2 jobs. First of all, having 2 jobs is tricky. You might not be able to have 2 jobs. You can't be permanently employed here and permanently employed somewhere else. That would be a challenge, especially on the hours.
Working hours, yes, exactly.
Kenya is not a 24-hour economy.
I know.
So unless you are part-time employed somewhere, that's when you can be able to get
Part-time. And even it's part-time.
Yes. Yeah, part-time is possible.
Yeah.
Consultancy, yes, by all means.
Have all of them.
Yeah.
But also,
we encourage people to do business. Side hustle,
But also remember, like there's even in part-time, sometimes you have to be careful. Again, like you said, make sure you read your contract.
Yes.
Because someone can say, you can work part-time, you work part-time for me, but you can't work for this other organization.
Yeah.
So that happens as well. Or
Yes.
someone tells you, you're working part-time, but I'm paying you enough and expecting that you'll not work for someone else. So there's always that nuance and balance. The second thing is, for cases that I've seen where people have taken 2 jobs, employers are ruthless. There's an employer that I know that went up to the second employer with the person's letter of employment and said, mtu anawafanyia kazi, this is her ID, nini. Got there, actually found that person on duty there. Went to the, let me call, I don't want to reveal the job, went to like the CEO's office, let me call them the CEO, and said, by the way, this is our employee, nini are there, our employees as well. CEO na yakafunguka kama mfireji. Akasema, our best employee is here every day, nini. So she ended up losing both jobs. Yeah, so employers can actually be that vindictive. Okay. They can just decide, umeharibu, wacha pia si tuharibu. Or even they don't even need to come. They just send a letter and say, this person is our employee for this and this period. Please confirm they are also your employee. You have a disciplinary issue here, another disciplinary issue here.
Napoteza kote.
Napoteza both jobs.
Mpanda farasi wawili. Anyway, so I think, okay, on that issue, there was a time, especially during this working from home period, a lot of CEOs were complaining that their staff are moonlighting. That's having 2 jobs. So someone during the day has gone to work in a factory, and then usiku is when you are seeing them responding to emails and all that. So that also is part of the problem. If your employer is going to have a problem with you working in another company, then don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
It's
just
also
don't do
like
it.
a matter of...
Yeah, also. Yeah, just check. And also declaration of conflicts of interest.
Declaration of conflict of interest.
Yes,
as well.
that's why most companies normally have that clause. So in as much as we said, yes, go get your consultancy gigs.
Declare your conflict
Declare
of
the
interest.
conflict of interest. So if you're working probably for Bank X and Bank Y wants you to do for them a consultancy, you know, those are competitors. That's probably going to raise a conflict of interest because your employer will feel like you're going to take the trade
Data
secrets
and data and just take to them.
to that other company. So it's important to first find out from your employer what's a conflict of interest. Can I do a consultancy for another company? So preferably if you want to do a consultancy, let it not be in that
Industry.
Yeah. So if it's banking, go and do a consultancy for a sacco.
I know.
You know, like just go off something
off.
different, you know. Go do a consultancy for a microfinance. Inaweza leta shida, but
Go do or an insurance
or an insurance company. Yes, that. And then make sure that most companies usually have a form for
COI.
yes, for declaration of conflicts. So you just declare. Yeah. Also, some companies usually have declaration of outside business activities.
Like the UN ones.
Yes. So if you have any businesses that you're doing, they're not preventing you from doing them, but they just want you to declare so that in the event there is ever a conflict, for example, let's say, okay, because we used to work in insurance, let's say we're working for Insurance Y, and then I've done a consultancy for manufacturing company X. Now that manufacturer wants to take cover with this company. You know, it can look like I'm the one who brought
them. Exactly.
You get? So the reason why you need to declare is in the event one day someone says, manufacturer X came to Insurance Y because Ndanu was their risk consultant, you know. Then the CEO can say, no, Grace had declared
the conflict.
Yes, conflict. And she had no involvement in the insurance procurement process. Whatever she was doing for that company is something very different. Yes. So that protects you also because your employer knows what exactly you're doing outside
that might come to bite them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that answer. Maybe we go to the second last question. This one says, does the government explicitly state that civil servants should not own stroke run businesses? I think you began by talking about the outside activities declaration.
Yeah.
Where some like organizations like the UN kind of have the declaration, this is what I'm doing outside to kind of maintain issues of integrity. So that was with the UN. When you look at the government, msema kweli, this is what
Constitution.
Article 250. Mutanizoea ama mutanizoea? Kama itabidi mumenizoea. Let me check Article 256B.
Na lazima ukamna hadi copy. Hawezi angalia
please
kwa simu.
Acha nikwambie. Watajuaje niko na nini? Niko na yenye ni not for sale.
Sorry.
6B. A member of a commission or the holder of an independent office, unless ex officio or part-time, shall not hold any other office or employment for profit, whether public or private. So a lot of government officers, government offices rely on this to kind of tell the employees you can't hold an office here, here, or here.
Yeah.
There's something also called the Public Officers and Ethics Act, where you are kind of constructively disallowed to partake in activities, especially when it comes to trading with the entity that has employed you or related entities. So if I say nauzanga books, I supply books and pens, and maybe I work for, say, Public Service Commission.
Yeah.
I can supply to probably the county government of Machakos, but I cannot supply to PSC. I'm just thinking probably those are the nuances around it. Yeah. But you know, people in government are smart. They know how to circumvent this thing. But tujasema uende ufanye.
There was a law allowing, that was a bill that had come to parliament to allow civil servants to do, to participate in tenders.
Yeah, I don't know if it was passed, but I know some of them do, though, to be honest. But I think it's the nature of the tender and where the tender is going.
Yeah.
Then it probably would inform whether or not. Because, the same organization.
I know.
I don't think that can happen.
Proper, pure conflict of interest.
Your organization itapoa K for character, D for development.
Yes.
Let me read for you the last question. This one was more up to your speed. It said, does the government explicitly, that is not the question, e-teams, I'm looking for the e-teams question. Okay, paying taxes abroad. Haya, nimepoteza swali yako. Anyway, basically the question was the effect of e-teams on businesses.
Umepoteza swali aje?
Mbona swali yako? Hata wacha nirudi kwa stories. Niko nayo huko ndani.
Anyway, so the effect of e-teams on businesses. I think we touched on it when we were talking about the finance bill,
Yes.
the finance bill episode. Right. So the first thing is that all businesses are required to give an electronic tax invoice. Yeah. So for any service that you give, you have to give an electronic tax invoice. So that means that for you to get paid, you just can't give the kawaida invoices. Yeah. So you have to give an e-teams invoice. Yeah. So the first effect, of course, is delays in payments for people who had given the just normal invoices, because they'll have to go and regenerate the e-teams
e-teams
invoices.
invoice,
Yeah, for them to be paid. I think the second effect is a lot more businesses will get into the tax bracket. Yeah. So there were a lot of businesses that probably were not being taxed as yet, especially in the informal sector. Then now they'll get into the tax bracket. Third, I think one of the biggest fears, let me call it a fear because it's not yet materialized. Yeah. It's people were saying that it will look like I have gotten the income. You know, where you've given someone an invoice, but they haven't paid you. So because CKRA now is seeing the invoices that you've been giving, now it will look like
I've gotten the income and I'm refusing to pay the tax.
Exactly. So that's one of the fears that a lot of business owners were having, that they needed assurance from KRA that actually I will only pay tax on the money that I have received in my account. I can't pay tax on money that I haven't been paid. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Nalipia mtu tax na haja
kulipa.
You know.
Why not if it's a bad it's a bad debt?
Yeah, exactly.
What if it becomes a bad
What if it becomes a bad debt? Yes. So that was one of the fears that a lot of business owners had. The other thing, which now on the flip side, I think it's a good thing for business owners or sole proprietors is the ETRs. Now that most businesses will be giving the ETR receipts, you can keep all those receipts as to claim them as expenditure for your business.
Yes.
So that's actually a good opportunity. Yes, for guys. Yes. Because now you can legally reduce your tax obligation. I don't want to shout.
So that people know.
No. So that's Zach. I don't want Zach to hear me.
But do you think it will also, I think it might also, depending on how it goes, it might go a long way in kind of making small businesses tax compliant.
Yes.
And actually formalizing small businesses.
Yeah.
You know, KRA is one of the institutions that has actually forced most people to formalize their businesses.
That's true.
Like,
because a lot of people hadn't registered their
Exactly.
businesses. Yeah. And then now you go and do supply something to a big hospital and they're telling you, but here e-teams invoice. Now you have to go register your business.
hiyo ni gani?
But it's a good thing. Actually, registration of your business is not bad. It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any more questions for us?
No, for now I don't have any more questions. Maybe next time. Yeah.
Okay. We'll be waiting.
Yes.
Any more questions from the audience? You're fine. Stan is fine.
Stan
Ryan,
is
you're
fine.
fine. Waniki, you're fine. John, you're fine. Okay, everybody is fine. They're not asking questions.
They're not asking questions today.
But it's been lovely hanging out with you today. We really, really, really like being here with you.
Yes.
And actually, please ask us questions. We want to engage.
Yes.
Come naturushia, you know.
This is a learning platform.
It is.
Yes.
Kwanza you should say the rundown slogan, the learning
platform. Hey. Mnasikiaje?
Mnasikiaje?
Welcome to the Rundown Academy.
The learning platform. Kwanza kuna tickets zenye nimeona tunafaa kwenda kudiscuss after. Anyway, guys, thank you for hanging out with us. My social media handle is @Mihala Barasa on Instagram. Our social media handles are The Rundown on TikTok, on YouTube, The Rundown KE on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Please relate with us. It's been lovely hanging out with you.
Yes. So you can follow me on IG at Ndanunzyuko, and also on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. Yeah, we like LinkedIn as well.
Yeah. And Threads. I think
Well, are we on Threads?
I'm on Threads.
Okay, we're on Threads. Hi, we're making moves.
We're making moves.
Hey! Mwah. Tunaendelea.
Yes. Na TikTok.
You also on TikTok?
Nitafungua.
Okay.
Immediately after.
Okay, guys, until we see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.